Why being too nice is destroying your life. There's a quiet tragedy playing out in the lives of so many kind-hearted people. You might recognize it in yourself. You say yes when you want to say no. Apologize when you haven't done anything wrong. Smile when you're hurting and shrink yourself so others can shine. All in the name of being nice. But here's the hard truth. Being too nice might be slowly destroying your life. Yes, kindness is beautiful, compassion is powerful, empathy is necessary, but being too nice at the expense of your own well-being, values, and boundaries is a form of self-betrayal. And if you don't recognize and correct it, it can lead to resentment, burnout, unfulfilling relationships, and a life that feels like it belongs to someone else. Let's dive deep into why this happens, what it looks like, and how to begin reclaiming your power without losing your kindness. 1. The hidden motives behind being too nice. People who are too nice usually aren't born that way. They're conditioned. From childhood, we're taught to be polite, agreeable, and likable. For some, niceness becomes a survival strategy. Here's what's often lurking underneath excessive niceness. Fear of rejection. You're scared people won't like you if you set boundaries or disagree. Fear of conflict. You've learned to associate disagreement with danger or emotional pain. Low self-worth. You believe others' needs matter more than yours. Need for validation. You gain your sense of worth from being helpful, agreeable, or needed. These motivations don't make you a bad person. They make you human. But when you don't recognize them, they quietly sabotage your authenticity and happiness. 2. People-pleasing is a slow poison. At the core of being too nice is people-pleasing. The compulsive need to please others, often at your own expense. Here's how people-pleasing destroys your life. You lose your identity. When you constantly mold yourself to fit what others want, you forget who you are. You don't know what you want because you're too focused on what everyone else needs. Over time, this creates a deep emptiness inside, a sense of disconnection from your own desires, dreams, and even your voice. You become emotionally exhausted. Saying yes all the time drains you. You're overcommitted, overwhelmed, and tired, but you can't say no because you don't want to let people down. Eventually, this leads to burnout, resentment, and even depression. You invite toxic relationships. Kindness without boundaries attracts takers. Manipulative people love overly nice people because they're easy to control, guilt trip, and exploit. The longer you remain too nice, the more likely you'll find yourself surrounded by people who only value what you do for them, not who you are. You miss out on real intimacy. Ironically, being too nice keeps relationships superficial. When you never express your true feelings, wants, or disagreements, people don't get to know the real you. Deep connection requires authenticity, not just niceness. 3. The difference between being kind and being too nice. Let's get something clear. Kindness is not the enemy. You don't have to become cold, selfish, or harsh to reclaim your life. What you do need is to understand the difference between healthy kindness and harmful niceness. Kindness, rooted in strength, comes from self-respect, says no when needed. Too nice, rooted in fear, comes from self-sacrifice, always says yes. Honest and direct, seeks mutual respect, helps when able. Avoids conflict at all cost, seeks approval, helps to be liked. When you act out of true kindness, It includes kindness toward yourself. It's not selfless to give everything away. It's self-neglect. 4. Real-life signs you're being too nice. Still not sure if this applies to you? Here are some subtle and not-so-subtle signs. You constantly apologize even when you didn't do anything wrong. You feel guilty when you prioritize yourself. You avoid saying how you really feel to avoid upsetting others. You take on too much because you can't say no. You often feel underappreciated or taken for granted. You suppress your needs and convince yourself they don't matter. You agree to things you secretly resent. If these feel familiar, it's time for a reset. 5. The emotional cost of excessive niceness. Being too nice isn't just exhausting, it can be soul-crushing. Resentment builds. Every time you say yes when you mean no, a little resentment forms. It accumulates like rust on your soul. Eventually, it bubbles up as passive aggression, bitterness, or full-blown emotional outbursts. And often people are shocked because you've trained them to believe everything's fine. Anxiety and depression. Increase living inauthentically, pretending to be happy, always holding back, walking on eggshells, breeds chronic stress. Your nervous system stays on high alert. You're constantly anxious about how others perceive you. Over time, this can lead to depression and a deep sense of worthlessness. You live a life that isn't yours. One of the saddest outcomes of being too nice is waking up one day and realizing you built a life based on other people's expectations, not your own desires. You're successful but not fulfilled, surrounded but still lonely, busy but not aligned. 6. How to stop being too nice without becoming mean. Breaking free from excessive niceness doesn't mean turning into a jerk. It means becoming whole, a person who honors both compassion and boundaries. Here's how you can begin. 1. Practice saying no. Start small. Say no to things that drain you. You don't owe anyone an elaborate excuse. Thanks for thinking of me, but I'm not available is enough. 2. Let go of guilt. You are not responsible for other people's feelings or opinions. Guilt is not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's often a sign you're doing something new. 3. Check your motives. Before you say yes, ask yourself, am I doing this from love or from fear? 4. Start being honest. Authenticity is an act of courage. Say what you really think with kindness. Share how you really feel without apologizing for it. 5. Expect pushback. When you stop being too nice, people may react. They're not used to you having boundaries. That's okay. Their discomfort doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're growing. 6. Work on your self-worth. The more you value yourself, the less you'll need to be liked by everyone. Self-respect is the foundation of healthy relationships and decisions. 7. The freedom on the other side. When you stop being too nice, something incredible happens. You reclaim your time and energy. You feel more confident and grounded. You attract healthier, more authentic relationships. You speak up, take up space, and stand tall. You become someone others can trust, not because you say yes to everything, but because you mean what you say. Most importantly, you begin to live a life that feels like it belongs to you. Final thoughts. It's time to choose yourself. Being too nice isn't noble, It's a slow form of self-erasure. You were not born to be agreeable at all costs. You were born to be real, courageous, kind, and whole. The world doesn't need more people-pleasers. It needs people who are honest, kind, and brave enough to show up as their full selves. So choose yourself, even if your voice shakes, even if others don't understand, even if it feels uncomfortable, because your life is far too precious to spend it being nice instead of being true.